So very good morning. We have Rachini and Andrew. So let's take a minute or two so until others get on board. So I'll just give you a kind of a overview what we have done so far. So development financing. So we started maybe 6 weeks back, I suppose. So far we have done on introduction to project financing, then SME financing. Then we did about sources of financing, and then microfinancing. So basically, we have done something about 30% to 30 to 35% of the syllabus so far. And then we also have done kind of some question and answer sessions also to further familiarize the what we learn. Then today, basically, what I wanted to discuss with some of the techniques or some of the areas which is useful to undertake project financing in detail. So the project appraisal in detail. So when you say about project appraisal, project financing, so we need several ingredients, I must say, like different areas. So we need to thorough before we undertake a full project financing steps, like from starting canvassing a customer to getting information and approving the credit and disbursement and follow up. There are several steps in the project cycle, like every other credit. But in this case, just learning the project cycle or project steps or may not be useful or it's not sufficient. So we need to understand what are the ingredients, supporting elements, supporting topics to understand the total project cycle. So for that, what I have done is, like, today we start with the break-even analysis. So I have shared with three materials, I must say, the presentation and the reading material, and also some questions selected in order to further familiarize on this break-even analysis. Right. Then, like last week's, my advice, my invitation to you is basically, so we need to understand these concepts thoroughly, right? And you need to practice it at home. Once you done with the presentation today's session, you need to discuss, go through questions and further familiarize the content, because so we see regular questions has been incorporated in development financing, so that so you can get full marks in case if you are going to attempt this question, because not difficult. When you see the past paper questions also, you further understand that. So it means that it is not difficult to carry out the particular questions, right? Okay. So what is break-even analysis? Any idea? What do you understand the break-even in general? Any thoughts? Rachini? Andrew? Where have you heard this concept? Break-even. Any idea on meeting, listening this concept, this word? Any idea where you have come across this word? Break even, breaking even, break even. What is the word? Where have you come across? Any thoughts? Please speak up. You can put a message or you can speak up. Rachini, any idea? Where have you come across this word? Break even. Andrew? Hope you can hear me. You get my question?
Yes, I get.
Right. Rachini, you have a problem in mic. Andrew, any idea where we have come across?
Remember half, sir. I think total profit equals. There is one more that equals total.
Okay, there's no profit, no loss situation. That was in general the formal definition. But in practically, have you come across this break-even word?
No, sir. I'm just working in the e-banking division, sir.
Pardon?
I work in the e-banking division, sir.
Okay,
So
okay,
I
Rachini.
didn't come
Right.
across this
Rachini, you were saying yes. Any area. If you are working in a branch, probably you might have heard this word. Udita, welcome to the class. Very good morning, Udita. So we have just started the today's session, break even. Rachini, let me know like where you have come across. Like what would be the like branch if you are putting in a branch. So if you are going to start the branch, so what's your first aim? To make profit or to make the branch break even? So generally head office people ask whether you have done, yeah, very good morning. Yes, yeah, break even, right? So whether you have, achieved the break even point in your branch. So even the business also, it means something like it's not the profit situation. It's not the loss, right? It's almost like profit loss, similar status where we try to meet some of your variable expenses through your income. So that point we'll say the break even. Yes, in a branch, for example, you have so many fixed expenses, right? About rent to, about other maintenance kind of thing, right? Maybe a building sometimes, right? If you are going to purchase, like, so there may be several long drawn cost items, but we are not talking about that. So sometimes we talk about like variable expenses, like, the salaries and wages, or maybe day-to-day expenses, right? About electricity, water kind of thing, right? So you try to achieve that cost through income by deposits, by giving loans. So then you say that we are break-even level. Then we are working on that to make more profit as against the fixed cost. So that is like, one area where we come across the break-even analysis or break-even point. So it could be common to business, it could be common to entity, or whatever you do, right? So we try to understand this break-even level. Especially, we need to see whether whatever we are going to do is a successful venture or not. If we are trying to, start a business and continuously doing without knowing whether we are at least passing this break-even point, I mean, no point of investing further. So that's about general. In terms of project financing, yeah, Samindri, good morning. Sandushi, good morning. Both welcome to today's class. So we have just started the break-even analysis. We are at the outset. So we are discussing some initial, the concepts of break-even analysis. So basically, this is something like in a project. So as a banker, so it is important for us. Why? Because we need to, yeah, Sambushi, we need to understand whether the client is running the business with the view to make a profit at end of the maybe some period. As a banker also, you need to understand whether I am financing and supporting a businessman whom is running the business which has some future potential. If we see that, we try to give a loan to a customer where we don't see a future in terms of growing, in terms of making cash flows, in terms of making profit, then no point of investing on that in terms of equity or in terms of debt. So it gives us an initial understanding, initial clearance to you whether the business is happening or not in our terms and our words. The business is has a potential to grow kind of thing. So for that, break-even analysis is important. So just I gave you a kind of idea what is break-even analysis. More formally, we will start learning in a few minutes time. So before that, I have a couple of announcements to you. There are 3 announcements. As you have already seen through our groups or otherwise, IBSL is planning to conduct examination subject to macro environment about COVID clearance, maybe last week of October and up to November mid before A-level exams. So means that we need to fast track whatever the lessons and to complete whatever the possible syllabus coverage and the past papers by mid-October. So first one is basically you have possible examination dates from late October to mid-November. That's number one. Number two, examination application closing date is 15th August. I mean, this the late entries, because the formal normal entries has been closed by 31st July, and the late application could be entertained up to the 15th August. That's number two. Announcement number three. So given this change of examination dates, so probably we need to have additional classes during these 2 months. So I am going to initially, basically we need to discuss with IBSL also some weekday evenings. Maybe we need to have additional 3 classes if the things are to complete by mid-October. So probably I will let you know there may be some evening classes. Please have your views. Like I might start about say 7 o'clock to 9 like, because 6 may be very difficult, could be difficult because some of you are working. Let me know a good time for an additional class on weekdays. Maybe 2 hours like this. So maybe 7 to 9 kind of thing. So to make things easy, so what I will do is, like, if you are unable to attend in the case of day-to-day sessions like the weekend, so probably we will take that weekday additional classes option to more less difficult sessions, or maybe some of the past papers kind of thing, so that we can decide. But so we need to have additional classes. Let me know a suitable time. So probably we can say Wednesday or Thursday like, so have maybe 7 to 9, 2 hours like this. So please let me know before end of the class what do you prefer, like what should be the like good time, maybe 6 to 7, 8, or 7 to 9. So let me know. So probably we need to have additional classes because we need to adjust with the new examination schedule, right? So those are the 3 announcements that I need to take you through. So then we will start the break-even analysis more formally. So break-even analysis, it examines the short-run relationship between changes in volume, changes in revenue, expenses, and net profit. So there are a couple of instruments. First one, volume, revenue, profit, expenses, or rather volume, sales, and profit, CVP, rather cost volume profit analysis. So it basically talks about a couple of variables, mainly what could be the income, turnover, revenue, one. Then what could be my cost. So then it talks about what could be my profit, deducted out expenses, what could be my profit, or rather what could be the volume that you are going to produce, because there is a price into volume, you get the revenue. So basically there are 3 things that we talk about, mainly CVP analysis, or sales, expenses, profit, and volume, right? And then there is a qualification, that is short run. Why do you think? Why the concept has come into a short run, short term? Any idea? Why it is not coming as a long term? So we'll discuss exactly in a few minutes. Any idea?
In order to run in the long term, we need to first survive in the short run.
Okay.
Otherwise, we could not see the long-term goals or achieve anything that we set for long term.
Yeah, that's a different interpretation, but it's correct, Santushi. Yes, you're correct, because now one thing is, yes, it's good to know that what would be the behavior during the short term, and then based on that we can have our strategies for the long term. More management related answer. So I must accept that as correct, but more technically, there's another thing here, right? So I'll tell it why basically we are worrying about short term. Sandushi, here we talk about CVP analysis. In short term, we assume most of these variables are constant, or there are no more drastic changes in our cost, volume, or profit, or there may be some linear relationship in these variables. But practically, it is not so. If you are taking a long term, there may not be very linear relationship on some of these items, which I'll give an example and later we will further understand. Let's say labor. So if you have one employee in your company and you say 2 particular outputs, if you put another, so another, it could be 4, another, it could be 6, like that. But in practical, it is not so, right? So there are vice versa. Let's say if you have 5 employees, you give 5 into 2, say 10. But in terms of 10 into may not be 20, because when you have 10 people in premises, instead of a 5, probably due to some other infrastructure issues, I'm very technical, I am telling, 10 cannot produce maybe 20. It could be something 19 or 18. There's a non-linearity there. That's one side. On the other side, when you have 1, 2, 3, like more and more employees, over time, there's a learning curve impact. Maybe one guy now can produce not only 2, maybe 2 point something, 2.5 like that, because the learning curve over a period of time. Now, with the economies of scales and all the skills they acquire, they could produce not 2, 2.5. So maybe in other side, maybe 10 people now produce not 20, 25, if infrastructure and everything is fine. So get my point, like means when you go for the medium to long term, these variables are not further constant. So then they can change. So then our equations may not be linear. It could be something, a nonlinearity will come into operation. So hence, for the study purposes, for the understanding purposes, for the simplicity purposes, we define break-even concepts in a short-run perspective. So that's why the short-term relationship is coming here. So probably if in examination purposes, if they ask about why the break-even in a short-term perspective, then you have kind of an answer. Sadushi, your answer is also correct. But before that, we can talk about more technicalities, and then we can go to the management perspective also. Because in order to survive long-term, we need to understand what the short-term behavior. Here that we have understand the short-term, yes, we have to see how their behavior is. More technically, we have some assumptions under the break-even where most of these the variables we have taken as constant, or the mix that we have taken is constant. Hence, in a short term, assumption could be correct, but when to medium to long term, the assumption could not be withstand as correct. Hence, that we undertake this relationship, computation, as a short-term relationship. Here, next, we are trying to understand the users. We just also spoke some, kind of introduction to the break-even as users. So it's important for short-term planning and decision-making. That's number one. So this is short-term. We have, some assumptions to this, but still, this could be very useful in short-term planning and short-term decision-making. By looking at this, the break-even numbers, break-even figures, we can say, so this is a kind of a potential business. We are in a position to introduce some financing, because short-term planning and decision-making is not only for the outside like bank, it is also important for the entrepreneur sponsor itself. So short-term planning, decision making is the first advantage or the uses of the break-even. It looks at the relationship between cost, revenue, output, and profit. There it talks about CVP analysis, because these are critical variables in a firm's business. So it gives us an understanding of CVP relationship. Short-run decisions where CVP is used include choice of sales mix, pricing policy, etc. Because now when you see this short-term perspective, CVP analysis, then you can think about what is my pricing policy, what is my sales mix, what is my volume into particular region, particular segment. So you can get an idea on that as well. I'll explain further. When say pricing policy, let's say you say you have 3 items and you have price P1, P2, and P3. So you are trying to run this whole exercise for a 6 months, and looking at that, you can see, so how much I am achieving, how much should be my turnover. So whether, this is useful, this is profitable, is this mix. Oh, if I can do, say, P1 is much, P2 is much, P3, that's about pricing. And volume, P1 into V1, P2 into V2, P3 into V3. Say, how much should I produce in the V1, V2, V3 in order to maximize my turnover? Let's say, if you can see that P1 at very high price with the very low volume, and you have one segment. So like that, PV relationship also important, because by doing this, you can get an idea which way I am heading. So that is possible because it's the break-even analysis, because these simple variables you put into the operation, you can understand what is my turnover, what is my cost, what is my profit, at which level my cost equals to the profit. That's what the break-even is. So then when you trying to understand those things, it is easy for me to take correct or rather accurate decisions. So break-even analysis, some usefulness that we have just spoken of. If you do have any questions, you can anytime raise. I know this is not difficult, but it could be new to you, but then it could be easy if you can solve whatever the questions that you come across when we understand, when we are discussing the theory. Then decision making and break-even, some examples. So we spoke about some usefulness, but it further discuss about some examples here. How many units should I sell to break even? That's one. How many units should I sell to achieve a target profit? Should a special order be accepted or not? How would be the profit impact if I introduce a new product or service? These are the questions. These are the usefulness in terms of examples I am explaining. Say, how many units should I sell? Like, let's say you are going to start the business, say you are putting to, say, a restaurant, for example, and then you are trying to produce something and you try to sell it. Then you need to understand how much should I sell, at least to make my firm break even, no loss, no profit situation. If not, I'm trying to sell as much as possible. I don't know whether it is profitable or not. Or let's say if you want to achieve, say, 200 rupees, 500 rupees, 1000 rupees profit per day, then how much should I sell? That's a good indication, right? Because we are trying to do something. Then if you think that I want to make break even first, I want to make 1000 rupees profit per day, then how should I produce? How much should I sell? Okay. Whether to take special order, say you are running with a capacity with, let's say, product 1, product 2, and product 3 at pre-agreed output level. Now you are trying to get another order, let's say printing order, right? Then you need to understand whether I can take up that order. When you are trying to take up that order, the infrastructure should be support for that, should be enough, including variable cost, mainly labor, for example, electricity, so other utilities. Fixed cost may be okay, but the variable cost should be supported in order to get the additional order. That itself will be one of the outcome of this break-even. Finally, if you are trying to onboard a new product, introduce a new product, introduce a new service, will have impact on the existing portfolio. So you are running very well, very smoothly. You want to introduce another product. But if the particular product or service doesn't generate adequate turnover, means if it is not breaking even at an acceptable duration, it will, eat out to the profits of the existing operation. That you should know. So then you should know that no, it's not the perfect time. I should not continue with this project. Or rather, yes, I will do more and more because that also give value to my product portfolio or service portfolio. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Before we move that, we will see the graph and come back. Any questions up to now? Okay, let's move on. Before we understand the different terminologies, we try to understand this break-even chart, right? So what is this break-even chart? Give me a minute. Break-even chart. Hope it will be much clearer now. Right, here we try to draw a graph as we were talking about in a short-term duration, short-term perspective, where there are two axes. One is cost or turnover, cost or revenue. Other is the volume. So two axes, y-axis is for revenue or cost, then the x-axis is for volume. Generally, if you see a couple of graphs here, this is fixed cost. But as per graph, if you see, a fixed cost is not going to change over time or with the output. You can see it's a straight line parallel to x-axis. Means there's no change in cost with more and more output. Like rent in a firm, in a premises, like branch rent may not be going to change for about, let's say, for 1 to 2 years, irrespective of how much sales that you are going to do. It's a fixed cost. Hope you understand that. Give me a minute. I will. Fixed cost is not going to change over time, right? Then we talk about variable cost. So it's something, this type of a graph, but here that they have taken fixed cost and variable cost together as a total cost. But if you see this graph starting from here like this, or this portion, right, this triangle, it's we call variable cost. So variable cost is basically changes with output linearly, right? It's linear change. So one output, x cost, two output, 2x cost, 3 like 3x, because it's a linearity. It's a linearity. It's a change is as linear, right? So that's why we have taken in a short-term perspective. In a short-term relationship only, you can see these things are happening. But in long term, you can't see these things are taking place. So basically, if you see the fixed cost, if you know the variable cost, then fixed cost plus total variable cost will give you total cost. This is the total cost curve. This is the number of units going to produce. This is the total cost curve. But remember, at zero production, there is a cost. Why? It is the fixed cost. So thereafter, every item you are going to produce will add cost to the firm. That is we call variable cost. So then total cost will be addition of fixed cost plus variable cost. That we call total cost curve. This is the TC. There's another graph that is with the output, we get the income, we get revenue, right? So quantity sold, and then there is a chance of making income, making revenue. So at unit 1, there is some revenue. Like unit 2, the revenue is going to increase, right? This is the curve. At unit 0, there is no revenue. Each unit will give revenue. So this is the TR. So now we have TR curve, we have TC curve. So if you see this area, total revenue is less compared to total cost. Then you make a loss. At this area, total revenue is greater than the total cost. It's a profit area. At this point, you don't have revenue or profit which is superseding. Either profit is equal or the profit is X, cost is X. So the total cost and total revenue is equal in this point. So means this is identified as the break-even point. So at this point, you will get the total sales in y-axis. At this point, you get total cost. You can't see, Samindri. So basically, I am talking about this, the intersecting point. Maybe you can't see the mouse, I suppose, because I am. Shall I go to the screen and then? Now, can you see? If I put the cursor like this, can you see it? Andrew? Is it can see or can't? Can you see?
Can see it now.
Okay. So sorry about that. Since that this PDF that you can't see it there. So here, if you see this graph, this is the total revenue. This is the total cost. Intersection point is the break-even point. At this intersection point, you see total cost is equal to total revenue. This is the break-even point. So at this intersection point, x-axis represent the volume you produce at the break-even, and y-axis you can get the total revenue or total cost at the break-even point. So this is very important graph. Whenever you are asked to write a short note on break-even concept, break-even chart, so you should be able to draw this graph. Here, y-axis, x-axis, y-axis represent the turnover and cost, x-axis represent the quantity sold or the volume, and then we have fixed cost, which is not going to change with the output. Variable cost, we have changed with the output, and then fixed cost but variable cost will give you a total cost, and then with the changes in volume, so we have total revenue with the sale, so we'll get the total revenue. So total revenue and total cost is going to equal at this point, which is break-even point. So at the break-even point, so you have total revenue and total cost, that is from the y-axis. At the break-even point, you have some volume, which is from the x-axis, right? Any question on the break-even chart? before we understand the key terminologies. Any questions? Okay, all well? Udita, Ravindu, clear? Andrew? Is it clear? Okay, thanks, Ravindu. Right, so we'll move to the definitions now. There are a couple of areas we need to understand in the break-even analysis. First one, break-even point is a definition. It's a point at which a company makes neither a profit or a loss. So the break-even point, if the examiner asks about what is break-even point, so your answer should be break-even point is the point at which a company makes neither profit or loss. That's all. Then in order to find the break-even point, we need to know some more terminologies, some more information. That is contribution per unit and fixed cost. Contribution per unit is selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. So if you are running a restaurant and if you say you are selling, say, one packet of fried rice at a price of 400 rupees. And if you know exactly what is the variable cost in producing that packet of rice is, say, 360, then 400 minus 360 is 40 rupees is the contribution per each unit. So that is useful to absorb fixed cost and give profit to the organization. For your 1 unit, you make 40 rupees as a contribution. So like that, if you say sell 100 units, 100 packet of rice, then 14 to 100, 4,000 is the total contribution. That is useful to absorb any fixed cost relevant to particular operation. After that, it gives you the profit. So the contribution per unit is basically selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Okay, 2. Third one, variable cost and fixed cost. Before coming to the margin of safety, we will discuss variable cost and fixed cost. Variable cost is cost of producing one extra unit of output. Variable cost is the cost of producing one extra unit of output. Say, if you are going to produce X number of units, a relevant cost will be the variable cost. Each item will have a variable cost. So, one extra unit will have one extra cost. That is the variable cost. Fixed cost is the cost incurring in a business irrespective of changes to the output. Cost incurring in the business irrespective of changes to the output. How much you are going to produce does not have impact on the fixed cost. So we so far learned about what is break-even point, contribution per unit, variable cost, fixed cost. Another concepts, the margin of safety. Margin of safety is a measure in which the budgeted volume is compared with the budgeted sales, volume of sales required to break even. It is something, if you know the budgeted or the actual sales minus break-even sales, break-even volume, that is we call margin of safety. I'll show it in a graph more precisely, then you will understand. Before moving to here. if you go to this, so this is the break-even point. So this is the break-even volume. This is the break-even cost, break-even revenue. Now, suppose you plan to sell number of units up to here. This is your budget, or maybe actual sales. So you are in here. So if you say this is 1000 units and your budget, let's say 1005 here, then 1005 minus 1000 will give you the margin of safety. How much you can come down from your budget or actual sales until you make a loss. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ පැත්තේ ඉඳලා මෙච්චර දුරක් පාට ආපස්සට එන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වෙනකන් you are not making any loss. Beyond that you are making a loss. So margin of safety, word itself say a safety budget. How much you can come down from budgeted or actual sales level up until to the break-even sales or break-even units. So beyond that you are making loss. So margin of safety define budgeted sales or actual sales minus break-even sales, break-even units. Budgeted units minus break-even units will be the margin of safety units. Budgeted sales minus break-even sales will be the margin of safety sales. Actual sales minus break-even sales will be the margin of safety sales. That's simple as that. Right? That's what the margin of safety is. Then the break-even formula is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. How the contribution is computed? Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. That's how the fixed cost is going to, contribution per unit is going to define. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit will give you the contribution per unit. Right. Any questions? Margin of safety again define budgeted or actual sales and the break-even point. It could be revenue, it could be units. Amount of sales, amount of units can drop before a loss will be incurred. That's more precisely it has been defined. Right. So we'll take this and then we try to do this example. Then we will have a further understanding. Okay. Okay. Rachini has a Rachini. Why don't you call one of the IBSL representative? Probably you have that number, right? You can call Kavindra or Shashi. Do you have the number, Rachini, with them? Okay, please call and see whether is anything happen. So any other questions what we have done so far before we attempt in this question? Okay, so right, what we do is take a few moments among you. Here we have selling price, here we have variable cost, here we have fixed cost, here we have budgeted sales. Now see whether you can compute break-even point and margin of safety. Right. What about the others? Any questions? Here is the solution. Contribution is selling price minus variable cost, 10 rupees per unit. Break-even point is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit, that's 7,000. Margin of safety is break-even sales or actual sales minus break-even sales, break-even units, break-even point. That is 500 units. Right. Any questions on this? All well? Right. එතකොට කවුරු හරි අහුවොත් මේකේ break even sales කොච්චරද කියලා. What is your answer? Shagita. Now he is asking not only break even point. He wanted to know break even sales, break even revenue. What would be your answer? Sanindri, Sandushi, Ramindu, 7,000 into 50. That's what Sandushi is proposing. Ramindu, Roshni, what do you think?
7,000 into 50.
Yes, Chagita, very correct. What about others? Have you got the concept? Because sometimes he might ask not only the break-even point in units, break-even point in LKR, like rupees. So then we need to know the break-even point unit 7,000 into the selling price per unit. 7,000 into, yes, Ravindu, correct, 350,000. Hope others also got it right. Any question, please let me know. Then they also ask about margin of safety in rupee terms, in revenue terms, in sales. What is the margin of safety in terms of sales? In monetary terms. What would be the answer?
50 into 500.
Hurry. 500 into 50. Same, because there's no change there, but only concept should be selling price per unit has to be brought into the equation. Right? Hope everybody got that. Because the examiner sometimes propose us to compute it in terms of rupees, in terms of revenue. You should be able to answer that in that scenario. Fine. Please let me know any questions if you do have. Right. Then move to the another one or two concepts. Target profit. What is the target profit? Because now we can't always stop at being break even, because we need to achieve profits. We need to achieve further profits. We call it target profits, right? So what if a firm doesn't just want to break even, it requires target profit? What we are going to do, right? What if a firm doesn't just want to break even, it requires target profit? So then we want to go to next level, right? So means we at break even, we try to compute contribution per unit, and then as against fixed cost, we try to compute target profit. We try to compute break even formula or break even number. Then beyond that, we need to cover some intended profit, target profit. So that is basically after deducting fixed cost, there should be something for you to take back. So that is target profit. So means that you need to cover not only fixed cost, but some more profit or target profit using the contribution. That is the argument. Earlier, fixed cost divided by contribution per unit will give you break even. We need to go a quantity volume beyond contribution. So that is beyond break even. So that is a fixed cost plus some more should be divided by the contribution per unit in order to achieve that number. That's what the target profit. Technically, you need to cover additional intended profit in order to achieve some number. We call this the volume required at the target profit. Then the equation is going to change a bit. Instead of fixed cost, you are trying to add target profit into the fixed cost divided by the contribution per unit will give you the volume at target profit, volume needing to achieve the target profit. So let's give a try on this example 2, and then we will understand further on the target profit. So earlier break-even formula, break-even point is fixed cost divided by contribution per unit. Now when come to the target profit, not only the fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution per unit will give you the volume requiring to achieve this target profit. A small change of the equation. See whether you can give a try on that before discussing the answer. Give 2-3 minutes and see whether you can achieve that. What could be the answer? First, try to find the contribution per unit. What is the contribution per unit? $50, right. Then Sadhuni, what is the fixed cost? It's given 50. What other changes we need to do? Now, in order to find the target profit, yeah, Ravindu, yeah, 4,000, Sandushi, yes, 10,000 plus. 50,000 plus 10,000 is 60,000 is the number that we need to achieve. Figure that we need to achieve through this contribution per unit. 50 plus 10,000 divided by contribution per unit will give you the number of units requiring to achieve the target profit of 10,000. So what could be the number? Ravidu is come up with 4,000 units. Ravindu, you can also mention it is in rupees if required. What could be the rupee term? How much turnover that you need to produce, incur or generate in order to achieve this 10,000? 4,000 into how much? That's the selling price. That's a turnover figure. Very correct. What about others? Yes, Sandushi, you also correct. What about others? You got the concept clear? Please let me know.
Yes, sir.
Right. What about others? If you see the answer, here is the answer. Contribution 35 minus 20, 15. Level of sales required to generate profit of 10,000. 50,000 plus 10,000 divided by 15. That's 4,000 units. That's level of units actually, 4,000. Level of sales is 4,000 into 35 is the answer. Right. Any question? Let's see. Okay, thanks, Samindri. Okay. Then we will quickly see the rest and then we will do some questions on this. Limitation of break-even analysis. Cost either fixed or variable. So sometimes in examinations so that they might ask about what are the issues, concerns, limitations of break-even analysis. They might question us on that. So these are some of the things that we can, tell the limitations of break-even analysis. Costs are either fixed or variable. Production is equal to sales. one product or one like constant sales mix, selling price remains constant, efficiency remains unchanged, volume is only factor affecting cost. So let's see what are those. In this exercise, break-even analysis, we assume costs are either fixed or variable. So there could not be semi-fixed or semi-variable cost. But practically we know there are semi-variable or semi-fixed costs are there. If you take labor with the learning curve, it's not total variable. It's semi-variable. Even fixed cost also. Some will say fixed, but it's going to now change for other technicalities. But practically, in computation, this break-even analysis, we take cost are either fixed or variable. එක්ක තියෙන පුළුවන් fixed cost එකක්, එක්ක තියෙන පුළුවන් variable cost එකක් විතරයි. Then we also have another assumption where all what you're going to produce is going to sell. But practically, it may not. There may be some stocks lying in your stores. We call them closing stock or whatever. But in this example, we say production is equal to sales. Third one product, a constant sales mix. One product, constant sales mix. It may be, it is something where we discuss is either one product or the sales mix is not going to change. So you are going to sell during this 6 months, this product, this number, this product, this number, this product, this number. So during the period, you are not going to change. Because linearity එක වෙනස් වෙන නිසා. එහෙම නැත්නම් we have only one product. We don't have many products. If we have one product, we apply this equation. If you have many products, it's a constant sales mix. There's no change between the period that you are going to sell. Right. Then selling price not going to change. Selling price also during the period under concern is constant. Selling price remaining constant. Efficiency remain unchanged. Efficiency remains unchanged. Like labor, I was talking about, there's a chance where with the learning curve, efficiency could be changed. Or it could be negative side or it could be positive side. If there's many employees in a same position, will have some impact on labor productivity. Or otherwise, with the learning curve, they will quickly learn the process and they will produce more. So efficiency remains unchanged. Volume is the only factor affecting cost. Volume is the only factor affecting cost. But it is not in practical. But there are so many other things also. So basically, volume is not only the factor impacting cost. So cost either fixed or variable. Production is equal to sales. One product or constant sales mix. Selling price remaining constant. Efficiency remaining unchanged. Volume is only factor affecting cost. Those are some of the limitations, concerns that we need to know in break-even analysis. Right. So basically that's it about the concepts. Right. But we move to some of the questions regarding that. Just before that, what are the areas that we need to understand is this? So we need to know, one is break-even analysis in terms of introduction. What is break-even analysis? One. Number two, its application, usefulness. Number three, a computation of ratios. Number four, limitations of break-even analysis. Those are the 4 areas that we have learned. When it comes to the computations, we need to know a graph, we need to draw, we need to understand that. We need to know terminology in the break-even, that's about fixed cost, variable cost, break-even analysis, break-even ratio, target profit, margin of safety. Those are the words. Those are the terminology. Then you need to know how to compute contribution per unit, how to contribute break-even point in numbers, in units, how to contribute margin of safety in numbers, unit, how to compute target profit, numbers, units. Those are the things that you need to understand here. Any question so far before we try to attempt some questions? Any questions? No? Okay. Let's see then. See, I have some. This is what I was talking about. In break-even analysis, you need to know definition, key terminologies, and application, that's usefulness, and limitations, and computation of these equation, that BEP, margin of safety, PV ratio. PV ratio, I will tell you what exactly the PV ratio, and target profit, because PV ratio also important, because it was in the past paper. So I will let you know what's exactly how we are going to compute the PV ratio. But this is basically the summary of the break-even point. Right. And this is the graph. Anyway, you need to know the graph also. Right. Just to give you an understanding what you need to know about the break-even. Right. Then we go to the we'll start with this. Right. Hope you can see the screen. So this is the kind of question that we have got as a past paper. So first read the question and then we are trying to answer. If you go to the second para, it says Kanti assembles gift, assortment of sweets, operates on small rental premises in Gampaha. Rent is 4,000, fixed cost 1,000 per month, sells gift for 100, 2 part-time staff, variable cost 80. So we have 4 data, 4,000, 1,000, 180. Question 1, PV ratio, profit volume. 2, break-even point in terms of unit, in terms of sales value. Business, 20,000 gift packs, that's about target profit. Assumption, that the limitation that basically he's asking. So 4 questions, you can get 20 marks. The first one I will tell you, because PV ratio is profit volume ratio is equal to contribution to sales. Contribution per unit divided by selling price per unit is the PV ratio, because we have not learned in the theory. It was in the past papers. That's why I am taking it up right now. So the PV ratio is equal to contribution per unit divided by selling price per unit. Right. So let's start. Take 3-4 minutes for each question, and then answer at your own, and then we will discuss. Right. So what's the answer for first one? What is the second, third, fourth? We can go like that. So first, take the first question. What is the PV ratio? I also now mention about the equation, that you can use that equation and you can do the question. Please start now. What is the PV ratio? Anybody who did it? Point 2. Sandushi is coming with the point 2. Yes, Rachini, point 2. Answer is correct. Yeah. You know what's the contribution per unit? It is because 100 minus 80, 20. Selling price is 100. 20 divided by 100 is 0.2. So profit volume ratio is 0.2 times. Correct. Or 20%. Either would be correct. Then you can compute the second one. Break-even point in terms of output and in terms of value. See whether you can compute that. Whoever who has started or done it, please let us know. Break-even point in terms of output, in terms of sales value. Ravindu, Sadushi, 250, 25,000. Sandushi, you can continue with the rest of 2 questions. Others also can have your opinion on what's the break-even point and the output in terms of rupees. Samindriya, 250, 25,000, 250, 25,000. 3 people came up with answers. What about the others? Udita, Hirosha, Ravindu,
250, 25,000.
right? Chagita, thank you. You can continue trying the part 3 also to complete the part 2. $1,250. Okay. Let's see, Sandushi, what others answers. Rachini, IBSL has responded your question. They haven't done anything from their end. You can log in, log out and log in and see your audio settings whether it's correct. Sandushi, you can have the answer for 4 based on what we have discussed in the. Yeah, we'll discuss Rachini, the third question. Sandushi, what I was telling is like the assumption is basically limitation that what we have discussed. There are 6 limitations, so at least you have to write 4 or 5 to get maximum marks. Third one, Sandushi has done it, but about others, Rachini wanted the help. You can use that TP equation. TP is the quantity at TP is equal to fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution per unit. So here target profit has not been given, but quantity has been given. On the other side, you have 20,000 is equal to fixed cost plus TP is need to compute divided by contribution per unit. That's the equation. Try it in on that way. Any questions? Part A, part B. Part A, part B, any questions? You are clear with the part A and part B? Hirosha, Samindri, you are done with the part A, part B, and part 3, what would be your answer? Sandushi is coming with the profit is 8,000. Ravidu is coming with 395,000 profit. Ravidu, please double check whether profit can come to that level. We have Q 20,000 is equal to could be correct. Here we have 5,000 is the fixed cost plus TP divided by 20. Yeah, I think you are correct. Samindra, you can, Sandesh, you can check with the TP again. I think Ravindu has the answer. Yeah, 395 could be what about others? We'll give another 2-3 minutes and then we discuss the answer. Okay, part 3 we will discuss. Samitri, you can use that equation and see Q at TP, Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. We know the contribution per unit, we know the fixed cost, but we don't know TP, but we know Q. In order to achieve particular target profit, we have 20,000 units to produce. So Q is on the one side, 20,000 is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. Fixed cost is 4,000 plus 1,000, 5,000 divided by 20. It's a contribution per unit. Then you will have that answer. So we'll discuss the answer. I think PV ratio is clear. Contribution divided by selling price, 20 divided by 100, 20% 0.2. Then contribution per unit is 100 minus 80, 20. Break-even point is fixed cost divided by contribution, 4,000 plus 1,000, 5,000 divided by 20, 250 units. If in break-even output, then if you say in terms of rupee, 250 into 100, 25,000. 1 and 2. Answer 3, it come up with 2 versions. So he has used in the direct method, that is sales is 20,000 into 100, 2 million. Variable cost 20 into 80, 1.6. Fixed cost is 5. Total cost is 1.6. And profit is equal to 395. So this is a general equation where sales minus cost minus, sales minus variable cost minus fixed cost is the profit. This is what the direct method. There we have an indirect method also. The indirect method is, now we have an equation E where Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. We have another equation we learned earlier, that is Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. How the equation stems from was Q is equal to fixed cost divided by contribution per unit, that is a Q at break even. Q at target profit is only change fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution per unit. So fixed cost is how much? 5,000. Target profit we don't know, divided by contribution per unit is 20. Q is 20,000. 20,000 into 20 is 400,000 minus 5,000 will be the target profit. That is the easiest method we can use. Either you can use this method, this is direct approach, where revenue minus variable cost minus fixed cost give you a profit. Revenue we can compute because we know the units is 20,000. We know the selling price, we know the variable cost, we know the fixed cost. So you will have that answer where profit is 395, or you can use the equation which I mentioned, which is the easy way, where Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. Right. Any question on the equations? I can explain it again. Samindri? And Rabini? Rachini? Okay. And what about Samindri? Fine. What about rest? All clear? You can use both the equation. So depending on the situation, you can use it. Direct method or indirect. Thanks, Udita. What about Chagit? I hope you got it. Sandushi, you got that 8,000 now into 495, 395.
Yes,
I think
sir.
Ravindu has done it, right? Ravindu got the correct answer, I suppose. Yeah, Ravindu got the correct answer. Sandushi, are you okay right now?
Yes, sir. Now it's clear.
Okay. What about the others? I think everybody is clear. Then coming to the point 4, it's not a big deal here that he has given only one answer, but you can have 5-6 answers to, yeah, thanks actually, 5-6 answers to write for the answer 4. That's a limitation, issues, weaknesses, concerns in break even, right? Even the assumption you see the break even. So if the question is that, you have that answer. Okay, fine. So let's move to the part 1 there. That's another question, I think, right? Is a more theory part. Right. Let's take some time on this question. I know this is not difficult, but try to read it properly, right? And see whether you can have the answer. First, sketch it. You can do part 1, part 3, and part 4 is obviously we discussed earlier. Part 2, I will show it how you are going to do. See whether you can do the part 1 and part 2. I think it's clear, right? Take a few minutes and see whether you can get this question right. You can try. If you do have any questions, please raise, right? First think about what is selling price, what is variable cost, then see what is the contribution per unit, then understand what is fixed cost. It's like that, go step by step. Because we need to compute break-even point in terms of output, in terms of sales revenue. Read the answer very well and see whether what the information that you require, not all information you require. Any questions on arriving or finding that? Or were you able to do it? Okay. Actually, try to find one by one. 4,000 units, 160. Yes, you have done it, Sandushi, Samindri. Try to understand what is selling price first. Then see find what is contribution per unit or variable cost. Or rather, you can, straight away you will be able to find the contribution per unit. Samindri and Sandushi, you can continue doing by the part 3, not part 2. What about others? Were you able to find the break-even point? ECS is fixed cost, right? 32 plus 12. So we have 44,000. Fine. Then see whether you can find the contribution per unit here, because we have so many numbers here. 60,000 it should sell at a rate of 40, right? So selling price also we know. Variable cost 62.5% and another 10%, 72.5. That's again the variable cost also given. If not, the contribution margin also, somebody will see 27.5. So any clue to find the contribution per unit? Selling price is 40, contribution margin 27.5. Are you in a position to find it in the easy way? There are several other ways to find, but selling price is 40, contribution margin is 27.5. So what could be the then contribution per? That's right, Santosh. 40 into 27.5%. That comes 11. That's the easiest way to find the contribution per unit. Even at that, 40 value, 72.5 is the contribution variable cost. 40 into 72.5 is 29. 40 minus 29 is 11. That's again correct. Or since that we have given the contribution margin into 40 rupees will give the contribution per unit. That is 11. We know the fixed cost. We know the contribution per unit. We can compute the break-even point in numbers. That into 40 will give you the break-even point in revenue. Ravin, have you got that? Is it clear? Okay. What about others? Chagita, Hirosha, Ravindu, Udita? Is it clear to you now?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So we'll see the answer. Right. Thanks, Hirosha. Just now in this question, what happened was there are so many information here, but you need to read exactly what we need. Alright. කලින් එකේ නම් හරියටම තිබ්බ මෙන්න මේ ටික විතරයි. දැන් මේකේ වැඩිපුර දේවල් තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි කල්පනා කරන්න ඕනේ what we actually require. We need fixed cost, we need contribution per unit. Fixed cost is easily found 32 plus 12. Then contribution per unit. ඒක හොයාගන්න ක්‍රම කීපයක් තියෙනවා. So that is selling price minus variable cost, contribution per unit and pull. Here he has given the contribution margin. එතකොට ඒක තියෙනවා නම් if you apply it to selling price, එහෙමනම් contribution per unit automatically අපිට එනවා. ඒ method එක පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්. But if you see what examiner has does, yeah, he has gone the long way. Maybe 32 plus 12 is the 44,000. Fixed cost has come. Then in order to come the 11, he has done this equation here. Sale 2.4, 40, 100, percentage 62, 10%, 72.5, 29, 40 minus 20, 11. Then what we have done is, we apply this 40 into 27 points straight away. 40 is selling price per unit, 27.5 is the contribution margin, 40 into 27.5 is the 11. If we know the 11 is the contribution per unit, we know the fixed cost is 44,000. 44 divided by 11 is the 4,000. And that into 4,000 into 40 is the sales revenue 160. See how easy? If you know the concept, then it would be very easy for you to tackle the question. Hope it is clear. If anything, please let me know. Then we go to straight away part 3 before coming to the part 2. Here. See whether this is the one method. Like what we have earlier done. Sales minus variable cost minus fixed cost, you get the profit. Right? You can use that equation to compute the number of units into selling price per unit. You can get that answer. The other equation is Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. The fixed cost is 44,000. Profit is 330,000. Fixed cost plus target profit is 44,000, 330,000 divided by how much is the contribution per unit? 11. 34,000 is the easiest method. If you know the 34,000, that's a unit. What is the selling price per unit? That into 40, right? That into 40. Easily you get 1.36 million. I mean, straightforward. If you know the units, then you know the selling price, multiply number of units into selling price. You get that answer. බලන්න ඒක තේරුණාද කියලා? මේ ක්‍රමය හොඳයි. It's a bit of direct method will take time. There's an indirect method also. That is Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. බලන්න ඒක තේරුණාද කියලා? This is one method. There's another method as well. Any issue on getting the answer? Ramindu, Irosha,
What's PBT?
PBT is a profit before tax, or the target profit rather.
Okay.
So, but that what generally it does say, but it's a profit basically. Profit before tax or profit after tax or the profit rather. Generally sales minus variable cost minus fixed cost will be the maybe rather operating profit rather, but here he has taken PBT, but for our computation it is profit would do, because here we are not talking about tax and all that. I didn't get on that. The Q is basically Q is using as expected level. Yes. Q is you know the number of units you are expecting to achieve that particular profit Q. Because here that he is asking the Q, we have been given the TP. Chagita clear? Irosha, Ramindu, Udita?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So we'll move to the part 2. Graph very rarely that we have been giving, but if we have been given to draw a graph, what we could do is we need to find 2 points. We already know 1 point, because here the graph should be profit versus the volume. PV relationship is asking. අපි දන්න point එක මොකක්ද? Anybody can suggest what is the point we know already? When we compute the part 2, part 1 rather, we know what? Because the equation for this is Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP, or the profit, divided by contribution per unit. Because we have been asked to compute or draw a graph on profit versus the volume. The profit volume graph we have to think about what is the equation we can use. The equation is basically Q is equal to fixed cost plus profit divided by contribution per unit. Harine contribution per unit කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා, Q එක තියෙනවා, fixed cost එක තියෙනවා, profit එක තියෙනවා. ඔය equation එක තමයි මෙතෙන්ට පාවිච්චි කරන්න වෙන්නේ in order to find 2 points to draw the graph. එතකොට do we know a 1 point? Yes, that is the break even point. Yeah, profit is equal to 0. What is the Q? 4,000. එකක් අපිට මේ තියෙන්නේ. හරියටම අපි දන්නවා. මේක ඇහුවත් නැතත් we know at profit is equal to 0. No profit, no loss situation. We know the volume. It's 4,000. Right? Everybody is agree with me? Right. Then we know Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. එතකොට අපිට අඳින්න කියන්නේ graph එක Q versus profit නේ. අපි profit එක 0 වෙනකොට Q හෙව්වා. Then see what would be the answer for Q0. ලේසින් points එක මම කියන්නේ. Q0 වෙනකොට Q0 කියලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? මෙන්න මේ point එක. Quantity is 0, what would be the profit? Is something 44,000 නේ. Hey, Q is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. You make Q0. එතකොට මේ one පැත්ත 0 කරා. Then contribution into 0 is equal to fixed cost plus profit. Fixed cost is 44,000. ඒක මේ පැත්තට ගියේ. Minus 44,000. You have find another point. Here. එතකොට ඕනම වෙලාවක graph එකක් අදින්න කිව්වොත් so the variables are volume, profit. Profit එක 0 කරලා බලන්න volume එක මොකක්ද? Volume එක 0 කරලා බලන්න profit එක මොකක්ද? So you have two equations. Here, this one. Here another point. Let's say volume එක 10,000 වෙනකොට what would be the profit? Or volume එක 5,000 වෙනකොට what would be the profit? Use that equation, then you get another number, another point. So you can have 3 points. You can draw the graph. Hope you understand. Because generally we are not being given, but if it is given, then you need to know how to draw the graph. So the first thing you have to do is you have to find a proper equation to support the graph. Profit volume. So we have equation where Q is equal to expected level of output is equal to fixed cost plus TP divided by contribution per unit. Use that equation, make P0 and see what the Q. Make Q0 and what the profit. Because there are easily you can find at Q0 there is a profit, P0 there is a Q. So you have 2 points and find another point. So we have that answer. Right? Any questions? Anything to clear on that? Clear? Okay. So again, since that couple of new students who joined later, subsequent to my announcement, there are 3 announcements from IBSL. The first one is there is a plan to have examination conducted in October up to mid-November, subject to country situation. So in that case, we need to fast track our lessons. So be ready with the sessions that what we have done and the sessions that we are going to do in future. So probable examination dates now would be late October, maybe 23rd of October up to mid-November. Okay, 1. Number 2, having planned the examination schedule on advanced mode, we may have to conduct additional classes. So probably we might have to have classes on weekdays evening. So I'm planning to do it like maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Maybe 7 to 9 could be a kind of a slot. So if you have other opinion, please let me know. So depending on your feedback, we can have it maybe 6 to 8 also, but I would prefer like 7 to 9 because you have to come back from offices. So 7 to 9 could be, at least we need to have 2 or 3 classes during August and September. So probably we might have 1 class during the week. So depending on the IBSL calendar, we'll let you know through the calendar information. So Wednesday or Thursday, I am planning. So I have an additional class. Third announcement could be late entry for examination is going to be closed by 15th August. So if you have not already applied, please make sure to get that applied before 15th August. Those are the 3 announcements. So any views from you, especially on the additional classes? Will it be okay to have weekday evening, or is it okay with you? so that we can have it a class maybe even midweek of next, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. It's good that if we can cover it up during the August and September early, so that we are done with that. So please, if you do have any sort of differences, please let me know. If you can't have it this week, so we'll probably have next week or week after that. But probably it could be maybe week, Wednesday or Thursday, like 7 to 9, I am planning.
So can you adjust the time to 7:30, 9:30?
And that is, of course, possible.
Okay.
It's up to you, because I thought like more or less like 7:30, 9:30 also it's a good, because rather than having 6 to 8, maybe not easy to accommodate, but everybody is like working. So we'll have them 7:30 to 9:30. Any other feedback? Okay, so let's then plan with IBSL. So let you know in advance, like when we are having it through the calendar, but be ready on like have additional 1 or 2 classes, right? Okay, Samindri. Right, any questions on what we have discussed today? So we have one more question to do. So we'll attempt it maybe the next class, and then we will proceed with the working capital thereafter. So then thank you very much for joining, and let's plan maybe additional class probably Wednesday or Thursday. So we'll let you know. And so what we'll do is we will attempt this question. There's another question, and then we'll move to the working capital computation as the next session. So once we have done it, then depending on the time, so we can undertake past paper questions also. So in time to come. Okay, thank you.